Hello, Accelerators Organization. My name is Joel Gandara. Happy to be here with you guys, April 29th, 2024. And we've got not too many questions today, but they're good ones. So let's get started. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Most recently, in the last year, less than a year, I sold my companies. And now all that I do is coach. I help guys become the best version of themselves. It's mostly entrepreneurs, and we work on everything about life. So that's what I do. And here we go with questions. Kelly Killingsworth, what is the process to acquiring a business partner, and when is the right time to bring in a business partner? Business description: Kelly and Company, Kelco Construction, LLC is a licensed general engineering company in Northern California. We have certifications that put us at the top of the list for some government and state projects. We became licensed and certified at the end of 2022. We mainly take care of excavation, pipe laying, a bunch of other stuff. So let's jump into answering that. So a partner for me is kind of like borrowing money. I would only do it if I absolutely had to do it. Why? Because you're going to lose a little bit of control, even if you're the majority shareholder. Minority shareholders still have rights. You can't just go double your salary so there's no profit and then the other partner gets screwed over. So you're going to lose some control. You can't do whatever you want. You're going to have to answer to somebody because you're partners, equal or not. You still have to answer to each other. And so the advantage would have to be so much for me personally that it's overwhelming. Like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. This person owns this construction company, and they're going to keep us so busy and operating at all times that, sure, I can sell them a piece of my business. Otherwise, you got to think about, why would you bring them in? Is it because they bring money? Well, a bank can bring money. A private lender can bring money. Do you want to give up equity because of that? So if you needed today $100,000 and you can borrow that, that's $100,000. You pay back whatever, $120,000, and you're done. But if you bring that person as a partner, now for life, you're going to be giving them their checks of, they're going to get repaid eventually in distributions, that $120,000 or $100,000, and then they're going to earn more on the profits over the years. So keep that in mind. They've got to be bringing you something that you just cannot have on your own. It's got to be very specialized. And if that is the situation, you'll know. And feel free to, when you get closer along that process, or to re-ask that question and kind of give the scenario why you're thinking of bringing a partner, what this person brings, without giving us their name or anything, what they bring and what your thoughts are around it. And that way we can kind of break down that argument a little bit better. Next question is from Kristen Lander. How many months of operating expenses should a business keep on hand? The description is, I purchased an existing business and have a lot of debt associated with the purchase. I'm lucky in that I don't need to pay myself from this business because my personal expenses are all covered by my income from another business I own. So I want to pay the debt off as fast as possible, within 4 years, if not sooner, while not putting the business in jeopardy with less than an ideal amount of cash on hand. I recognize there are many factors that play into this, and it may be different for each business. Just curious what the mentors recommend or feel comfortable with in their own businesses. So Kristen, I have always operated with a lot of cash and zero debt. So it might sound like an oxymoron, right? If you have a lot of cash, then how do you not have any debt? Well, I never acquired debt. I rarely ever used any debt. And when I did, it was very short term. And then I paid it off immediately. So that's my approach. I'm a big saver and I'm a big investor. When there are good moments, I never think, oh yeah, this is going to ride forever, like everybody does. And then they overspend, and then the economy crashes and they're all up to here in debt and they can't handle it. I'm the opposite of that. I always think the economy is going to crash. I'm not a negative person at all, but I always think, okay, there's going to be opportunities. This is going to be great. When it all crashes, I'm going to be there to pick up the pieces and buy businesses or buy assets or whatever at a discounted price. So keep that in mind. That's the reason to have cash. Now, the problem with debt, there's an interest rate on there, and I'm sure it's just cutting away. So if you owe $100, but you got to pay $120, and that's $120. That 20 would have been in savings invested over many years. It would have grown. So that's my issue with carrying a lot of debt. It'd be interesting to see where you could cut back outside in the business that you currently have. I know it's not doing great right now. It's new, but in other businesses and in other income streams that you have, if you could just pay that all off. And if you think this business is going to continue and you don't want to keep paying interest forever. Pay it off as fast as you can. Now, as far as how much cash to keep on hand, here's the thing. If you're able to borrow, let's just throw some numbers out there. You're able to borrow $400,000 and you're paying that down little by little, but you have 100,000 in the bank. My philosophy is, why not take X amount from that 100,000? Let's call it half of it. You have 100,000 in the bank, you owe 400,000 over here. Take 50,000 of that and pay it down. If you ever feel like that now you're left with 50 and that's not enough, can you not go borrow more? You now owe 350 because you've taken 50 to pay it off. Somebody was willing to lend you up to 400 before. Can't you borrow the 50 the day you need it? I just hate to borrow money today when I don't need it. Right, so if you have some money in hand and you could go and pay down that debt, it's a guaranteed return on investment. And here's what I mean: if you have a crazy interest rate of 20% on a credit card, let's just say, and so you're losing 20% annually on whatever the balance is. If you just pay it off, you've guaranteed yourself not to lose 20%. And guess what? Not losing 20% is the exact same mathematically as making 20%. So again, I don't have any debt, but if I did, I would look to see what's the highest percentage. And that one, let's say I got an 18% interest rate. I'm going to pay that one down as fast as I can, because that means I get to save 18% of what would have gone to a multi-billion-dollar bank that does not need your money. You need it. I'd rather keep that here in-house. So I hope that helps. That's my perspective on money and financing and paying it off. Actually, let me go back on that. I just thought about it, Kristen. But you do need operating cash. So you could look at what your expenses out, what goes out every single month, guaranteed, and look at your P&L for the last 6 months, and you see, okay, X amount of dollars have to go out. I remember many years ago, I remember calculating it once and seeing that $44,000, I was always paying that out every single month when my business was smaller and newer. And later it became a lot more than that. But 44,000. So I knew, okay, if I wanted 3 months savings to have on hand in case sales went to absolute zero, which never happened, then I need 44 times 3. It's at 132, I think. So that's one way to see it. But hopefully you have a steady flow of income coming in from that business, even if it's not profitable today, but you can cover the costs. If you can cover the costs, maybe you don't need 3 months. That's up to you, but that's the decision you'll make with that data. All right, next question is from Erica Stokes. How do you organize your day effectively? I've tried creating systems from scratch, but it's very hard. I believe it's hard because I'm not aware of all the tools that are effective in a successful business. And if I am, I'm unaware of it within myself. I want to learn how to prioritize the important things in my business so that I feel that I am making 1% progress each day. And right now I feel lost. So Erica, the fact that you are asking questions like this, I think you're on a potential path for growth. These are the types of questions you got to be asking yourself and questioning your actions. So here's the thing though. I live a very simple life. I don't complicate myself. I don't have a lot of tools. I don't have a lot of apps. It's already out there. You want to organize your day? Use your Google Calendar and put every single thing you do in there. And I mean, you work out Mondays at 6 a.m., put it Monday, repeating every Monday. You work out Wednesdays at 9 a.m., put it there and repeat every Wednesday so that time is blocked off and you feel organized and you get these mental victories of, okay, I got to do this one thing today. It's time for that. Let me go do it. And then there's going to be some empty spots where you don't have things to do. Those are opportunities to put in calls, go find something new to do, work on calling more clients, whatever you do, put it all in a calendar. I've coached people. I've coached top 1% entrepreneurs on how to effectively manage their time. They don't hire me for this one thing. They hire me for a bunch of stuff. But that's one of the things that we do that I see changes professionals' lives. A lot of things could be in your head. And you got to do this and you got to do that. And you go crazy. Well, I had that problem some 20 years ago. And then this is before Google and Google calendars and stuff. But I started writing it down in a calendar. And my days started looking so clean. And I could just see, perfect, I've got this thing to do at that time. That's what I'm going to do. I'm never going to be late. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be ready. And I started executing with a paper calendar. If I ever forgot it behind, I didn't know what I was doing. Nowadays, you can get on a buddy's phone and recover your Gmail account and see your activities for the day, your schedule. You can do it on a computer. You can be in the middle of China, United Kingdom, Canada. It doesn't matter where you are. You have access to it. You have it in your phone, and it's very efficient. I see what a lot of people do all day is waste time. They have a meeting coming up, and it's a Zoom meeting, and they say, it's 1 minute before, or it's time for the meeting, and they're texting each other, saying, "Well, so who's calling me, or where's the Zoom link, or all this." They're doing this all day, obviously, because I see people do it to me. I hear people doing it, but they don't do it with me, and here's why. If I send you an invite, it's going to have everything you need on there. It's going to say date, time. It's going to block off for your calendar, and you just hit the yes. It goes into your calendar. You accept it. It goes in your calendar. And if it's a Zoom call, the link will be there. If it's a you have to call me, it'll say your name will call Joel Gandara at this phone number. It's all organized. We're not running around questioning ourselves. Also, I have a really serious problem with people being late. It really bothers me. And so, and I include myself. I hate being late. I've been late a few times in my life, and I absolutely hate it. So what do I do? If I schedule a deep call for me with a coaching client, it could be 55 minutes. It's not 60 minutes. Why? Because if you book it at 1 p.m., it's going to go to 1:55. I can't have it end at 2 p.m. because then how do I get on my 2 p.m. call if I have a 2 p.m. that day, right? I'm not playing that running around game. I cut those 5 minutes short. Trust me. You can solve all the world's problems in 55 minutes. You don't need more than that. But at 55, I cut it off. We don't go over. That gives me 5 minutes to go get some water, go to the bathroom, and be ready for the next thing. So you have all the tools that you need. You just have to organize yourself using the very basic tools. People are always looking. It's funny. One review that I get a lot on my book is there really wasn't anything too new here. I've known these things. I've just never done them. I'm now executing consistently. That's it. That's the point. I'm not here to teach any new thing that's just going to blow you away. I'm going to remind you that you have everything you need. That's got to be comforting. Because if I told you have nothing of what you need, you got to go out and learn it all. It's going to take you another 20 years to do it. But if I told you you have 90% of everything you need to really succeed, just start digging a little deeper and pulling it out and using it. All right, Erica, I hope that helps. We got another question from Erica Stokes. How do you reignite day one within yourself so that you can get back to the day one grind? I'm looking for a way to cultivate the passion again, moving forward in my week. I'm searching to recreate that feeling that drives you to do more than you thought you could. Phenomenal. So something's going on in Erica's mind right now. Something's missing. Erica, I think you need to figure out a few things, and I think just the fact that you're asking, I think you're on the right path. You need to figure out why you're doing any of this. If you're not, you need to reignite it. That's okay. Flames die down. We got to light them back up. But you need to be reminded of why you're on this path, and you need to be reminded to figure out why you're on this earth. What are you here for? What's the purpose of your life? That's an exercise that if we were on the phone, we could do this over like 20 minutes of back and forth, and you might start getting a little bit of insight into your own brain. Again, you have it all. It's all here. You just have to kind of dig it out, and through a series of questions, you can get to that. And let's see what else. So you want to get back to that day one grind. Maybe you've had some success. I'm just guessing. I don't know you at all, Erica. Maybe you've had some success. So that hunger has diminished a little bit, because when you do get food, hunger dies down. So you're not as fierce of a predator, right? You're not hunting as eagerly as you are when you're hungry. And I see this all the time. People take it easy and they relax until it all is about to hit the fan. And then they go crazy and then they get it done. It's a lot. You want to keep your cortisol levels low and not stress out. Do it when you're full. When you're full, start sharpening, the arrow that you're going to shoot at that animal. Start making sure your bow's in order, right? Don't wait until you're starving to then do that. There's a book called, I think it's I read a lot of books. I forget which are which. I think it's Good to Great that talks about good being the enemy of great. If you're doing good, if everything's all right, that's not good. I'd rather you be doing bad, because that's going to wake you up to make you get to great. But then that person who's up there and doing great things, they're not going to get complacent and get back to good. They're going to find a way to stay motivated. Networks like this, talking to people who are doing the things that you want to do, leveling up your friendship circle and your network and your community, I think those are all good things, because you start thinking differently. Now, I'm not saying you're going to grind every single day. When I was grinding, I was working 12 to 16-hour days. I will never do that again. I never want to do that again. But I did that in my 20s, and it was appropriate, and I'm glad I did it. But There are different levels of grinding as you mature through business and in life. Jennifer Southall. I'm considering applying for small business grants to keep my business afloat till it becomes profitable. What is your experience? Is there anything I should be aware of or need to look out for? I purchased a small art gallery / studio that has taken longer than expected to get up and running because the previous owner didn't manage it well. My savings are all gone and now it's running on credit cards. I'm starting to see a money trickle coming in, but not nearly enough to cut the expenses. So Jennifer, first of all, there's a book called Extreme Ownership. I recommend it constantly. You said that it sounds like the fault is of the previous owner because they didn't manage it well. Previous owner did a good job of walking away from a ticking time bomb. You're the one who picked it up, and I'm assuming put money down on that. So you have to do that homework beforehand. I've bought 14 businesses. I don't think I bought any that surprised me because the person was running it poorly. That's called due diligence, and you do all of that way before buying the business. You never get a surprise. When you buy the business, you know everything about it because you've looked at financials, talked to people, talked to customers. You figured it all out in advance. Just from what you're saying, I don't know that a business grant is going to help you. I don't know. I've never applied for a grant. I've never gotten free money in my life. I don't have experience there. But if you're losing money, that's scary. Credit card debt is very high interest, and you're going to have to pay that back. So I think it's time to do some deep soul searching and figure out, is this business really going to work? Are you going to stay in it? You got to know when to cut the cord and say, that's it. I can't keep doing this forever. I can't keep losing money. I absolutely hate to lose money. I've lost a lot. I've lost millions, but they've been as calculated as I could be about it. And I have cut expenses and closed down businesses when I've had to. One moment, got a helicopter. Sorry about that. I don't normally have helicopters fly immediately over my house. I think it's a military operation possibly. All right. So yeah, you're going to set a date, set a time, set a financial digit that you're going to say, if it hits this and I've lost this much, I've got to stop it and close it down. Unless you've got something around the corner that you think, do something different, bring in different artists, have parties, explode that business, market it really well, invite the whole community out there. If you got that coming up, then go do all of that. But otherwise, if you're just going to do the same thing and nothing new is coming in that'll really pick it up, I'm afraid for you losing more money. Last question is from Kelly Killingsworth, who asked one earlier today. Would going signatory to an operators union be a smart move for my company? I've been researching the pros and cons of going signatory. It seems that the companies that aren't unionized hate unions, and the ones unionized love unions. I have an option to be able to have open hire for the first year after I sign. There is a ton of work coming up in my local area that is all signatory, and we would be a DVBE. Next time, Kelly, don't use acronyms or things that no one else knows about. I don't know what that means. General engineering licensed union contractor in Northern California. I'm not seeing a lot of cons, and I am seeing a lot of pros to going signatory. I'd love to get a meeting scheduled with any mentor that has experience with this or with anyone who would like more information. So Kelly, most entrepreneurs that I know have no idea about unions because most of us don't want to have anything to do with unions, and many of us move to states where there aren't unions. I live in Florida. I don't know. Maybe there's some unions, but it's not a major thing here at all. Construction is done non-union. You work bad, you get fired. You work good, you get a promotion, you get pay, or you keep your job. So that's my approach to business. Imagine if all of us entrepreneurs in AO had unions telling us how much we had to pay them, right? If they told us how long we had to give them for this or for that, it's tough. You're negotiating. If you're in a union, your company is owned by a union. You're negotiating its way bigger powers than you. You're not negotiating with one or two employees at a time. You're negotiating with this massive. I don't know how tied they are to the mafia, but it used to definitely be tied to the mafia. You're negotiating with bigger powers, and that's tough. So if that's the only way to get work, you're in California. That makes sense. They're going to make it difficult for the small business owner to succeed unless they go union. You might just have to do it. I think you're going to get the best experience shares from people in California who've been through what you've been through. The mentors that I know in here, they're not running union shops. Most of them are not in those types of states. So yeah, I really don't know. As a business owner, I would not invest in a personally. Like, I wouldn't buy into a company that works with unions because you never know what could happen. They could go on strike and shut down your operation. That's a little bit scary. Yeah. So hope, I know that didn't help very much, but I hope you can reach out to the right people who could help you there. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Again, my name is Joel Gandara, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thanks again, Sean, for always inviting me.